Hello, my name is Rocco. Welcome. Today we will discuss how the angels see spiritual Satanism. Having been a black magic initiate in the past, I can fairly talk to you about what is the en vogue, a la mode, fashionable current of spiritual Satanism and how it differs from uh, other types of Satanism like theistic Satanism and so on. All types of Satanism are wrong, and even the type of Satanism that is brought forward by the Church of Satan is still connected to the essence of who we call the archetype of the devil, which is ultimately, if you believe in archetypes, connecting you to the devil, because the archetype literally means that the arch or the liaison in French, or the link or connection between you and a type. It's only that, say, the archetype of Christ has a broader meaning than the personality of Christ, because you can refer to an archetype in a more free manner than you can imitate a character of a person. In this case, the devil. The devil is a fallen angel, and the devil is a recluse. A devil is an angel who fought unjustly against you, human being, and for that reason was cast out. The devil is just like an angel, only that it's worse. So when we think of demons, we don't think of something that is extraordinary, beautiful, and attracting, and so powerful, like gods and goddesses. But we more think about decayed beings. So an angel will be like an apple, then a demon will be like a rotten apple, but it's still the same fruit. So a demon isn't more than an angel, although we perceive them to be more at first, perhaps if we're not trained. Um, because a demon would be categorical, so it would create that sort of void that you won't follow. So this is how a demon attracts, through its void. And that void creates pity, and pity creates a result that is some sort of compassion. So we move in great compassion towards demons because they create this void that is like the loss of a child. And they employ a lot of the ideas and concerns of Christianity, like Mary and angels and other beings that Satanists don't like. So I'll give you a little bit of what is my spiritual resume. and I started off studying magic and following a teacher of Kimbanda and Ubanda and Kabbalah. So she used to be a voodoo initiate and used to be a major knower of practitioner of South American magic. So everything has to do with voodoo and all these South American religions, like I said, Kimbanda and Ubanda and others. But because we are kind of following the current of life more than we are following the current of culture, we have to remember that these things are wrong because they displease God, and originally they displease God because God isn't happy with what they bring to his most cherished creature, that is man. So God is unhappy with demons because demons were unhappy with him. So again, demons are create that instant connection to man because man feels totally erroneously but totally centered and completely not trusting but totally centered and understood, especially in his not his deepest but in his current suffering. So one feels that one can solve all his most immediate problems and concerns immediately and with having fun if connecting a demon with a demon. So that is a mistake, but if human people connect to demons, that can develop a mental system that I'm sorry, I just find demons very boring, that is centered on self-deceit and is centered on unhappiness, centered on hypocrisy, and centered on especially destruction. So destruction of their own selves under the guise of the destruction of God, and destruction of Jesus under the guise of a new salvation army that it's like, I don't know if you've ever watched Evil Dead 3. You know, it's New Salvation Army that is kind of like more funny than the Army of the Light, and a destruction of um, the Holy Spirit, then that is a representation of the spiritual force present in all things. So if these people destroy these three um, avant-garde posts that are Jesus Christ, God, and the Holy Spirit, they will ultimately achieve the destruction of their core. That is what comes out of the Trinity, your core. So when we enter in the energy field of hell, we are able to feel a lot of enthusiasm at first because these people try to attract us, and a lot of saints had visions of hell, and it's very everything, it's an anti-universe, so everything works in manners that are quite different from the way things work with the law of gravity here on Earth. Hell is as a reversed paradigm, can be fascinating to some people because It has different types of what do you call it, like like a story building. So the different floors, it has different demons come in different orders, and there's different parts of hell that come with different perceptions. So with purgatory is the middle step between heaven and hell, and purgatory is a place of lamenting souls that haven't fully found their light yet. But some of them are working their way up, and some of them are working their way down or can fall. And heaven, hell, and purgatory are constant. There isn't an end to these souls, right? And once we are in heaven, we don't go back. Just like after you win the lottery, you don't go back to see your old friends who are very poor. So you made $1 million. Better off on your own. You don't go see them. So demons are very poor. Contrary to popular belief, they don't own the treasures of the earth. They don't live on this earth, but they live below it. And these treasures, some of them can be seen by demons for sure, but most of them cannot be bestowed upon you by a demon, just because a demon is a bestower of stupidity and to have something in return that is very expensive. So in short, spiritual Satanism is one of the most, I believe, dangerous currents in modern spirituality, together with some forms of yoga in itself is okay, but together with some forms of yoga, in meaning how yoga is perceived to be by some, and what people use yoga for and where they want to get spiritually. Because if you use yoga to connect with Hindu gods and goddesses, and when I say gods and goddesses, I mean spirits that are fallen spirits. So a fallen angel is a god. There isn't a particular brand of spirits that were created by God to be gods, and demons to be demons, and angels to be angels. Originally, God created heavenly spirits, and then some of these spirits, like the fairies, were sent down to earth, and some of these spirits, like demons, were cast down into hell. So hell is a place of complete separation from God. As I was saying, heaven, hell, and purgatory are constant. Always. Constant. So whatever you choose during your life, the afterlife will propose it to you. So there's many demons. There is these gods of the underworld, so on. Demons are unkind, unprepared, and unloving. Unkind because they don't approach you humanly. Unprepared because they really throw themselves around. And unloving because they unloved God. So they own him. They recognize him, but they don't worship him. They don't love him. They don't see him. That's worse. So that's why they don't have pupils in their eyes. They're whited out because they don't. That's the light of God that blinded them. They're blinded by fear. Blinded by fear, and again that attracts you towards their void. But their void is to be avoided for sure. And demons aren't fun. They try to use these means like gypsies trying to get some money out of you. And years ago, when I was in a pact with the devil that I undertook for the first time, when I committed to him when I was living in San Diego. And I was at first, during my witchy career, both a white witch and a black witch, what you would call a gray witch or gray magician. And then I decided to evolve, in quotes, into the darkness. And Lucifer took me in immediately. But what I noticed is that I wasn't enjoying what I was doing, and I noticed that some of the people that I loved would become more distant. There's people who lose certain important people in their lives, some people forever, just because they commit to the devil. And that's what the devil tells them, to take time. And I found Lucifer quite frustrating, and there's a lot of websites online that tell you what to do if you want to get closer to the devil, but they don't exactly tell you how. And thing is that if you want to get close to the devil, you might as well, like they say, jump off a bridge. You don't have to make it all fancy and cultural, because there's nothing cultural in someone who is, when you approach an angel, you approach an angel with respect, and an angel gives you something for free because he's your friend. When you, because the devil won't approach you, but when you approach a demon or devil, then the devil looks at you in a weird fashion and like, who are you, and what do you want from me? And the devil does not want you to be there, but he can withstand that he feels inside, because he knows that you will have your soul burn forever in his pit where he's laying, and he will eat your soul and destroy your source of constant support until you are no more what you are, and you become something that cannot be recognized. And there's not an end to what a demon can become. These children of the damned are terrible for those who believe in them. The way to be protected from the devil is to be completely surrounded by loving and positive light. If you want a visualization technique, perhaps imagine, like they say, white light around you, which already has a repelling effect on Lucifer. But if you don't make this strong enough with your intention and goodness, then this white light can be permeated by demons or negative energies, all the same. All you have to do is to get a crucifix or talisman that has some divine names on it, perhaps consecrated with Archangel Michael or Archangel Raphael or even Archangel Sachiel, who are good for the defeat of unjust enemies. So, and when these enemies are defeated, that they disappear because they have no legal right to be with you. And the devil operates in three ways. First, he leads you out of track. Second, he leads you to a place uh, where there's no return. And third, he doesn't enjoy doing it. He doesn't like doing it. He's loveless. He's unloving. When we say he's unloving, we are using this term in its broadest connotation possible, meaning that he feels no love for anyone around him. No love, including for himself and what he does. There is no love. And no matter what connotation you give to the word love, there is no love. And God doesn't exist from where he is for sure. He God exists, but he cannot be seen, so in some ways he doesn't exist. But his energy is present in hell somehow, in the sense that there's something not great, because great is too majestic, too poetic, and too transcendent. There's something big going on up there, but you don't know what it is. And what's worse, you don't care. And some demons really like to play tricks with some of you, and like to come into people's dreams, and like to take off people's energies. And sometimes when we behold the truth in front of a demon, then the demon is repelled by that truth that the demon doesn't accept up to a sufficient point. He only accepts it to the point where he survives, to where he gets to survive, and then he doesn't listen to it. So they recognize the existence of God. They are aware, still remember that he lives, but they don't think about him. And what's more, they're not interested in knowing him again, because they have sinned and they think they will never go back to their original glory. So these angels are decayed. These lower angels are fear-based, decayed beings who in spiritual Satanism are brought forward under a different light, the light of the gods. So they're called online, sometimes they're called the ancient, the original gods. So when these people dare to say original, are exposing original theories in the sense that never came out before, but they are puppets of this being called Lucifer or Satan, that is reducing the minds of those connected to him to a point where people spontaneously dislocate their chakras around certain demons in order to feed them. And it's just not worth it. So spiritual Satanism to me is very wrong, because it puts Satanism under a light that is precisely spiritual. And spirituality, in truth, is something totally different. Although we're dealing with spirits here, because Satan is a spirit, we also are forgetting perhaps that true spirit only comes from integrity, wisdom, and knowledge intended as knowledge of God. So these demons haven't learned anything. They still hate you. And you can learn a lot of the things that are taught, like meditation and chakras and stuff, in the so-called spiritual Satanism much better when you're practicing these things as a Christian, or any other thing is better than being a Satanist, especially those Satanists that don't admit that they worship the devil, especially those Satanists that think they are independent. This is the most dangerous. By dangerous, I mean the most revolting. So what can create more damage to your brain? Not dangerous because they kill people, but dangerous because they are not intelligent to even advocate their own free will choices, immature because they think that they won't pay for them, and overall stupid because they will. So spiritual Satanism is a current that could be left alone, and but I really wanted to tell you something about it for having been a part of it. And when I committed to Satan, what I felt at first was this immense rush of energy and feeling that I had precisely done the right choice that was going to give me access to all areas of my life that deserved help. And slowly it came obvious to me that this wasn't the case. So Satan got bored with me, and I got bored with Satan for after a little while, and but I still had to stay with him and get to know him. So I followed him for a couple of years, and then one morning I decided that I would just let him go. And I was at the time possessed by different demons and talked to different entities in that realm, facing controversy and difficulties in understanding them at first, but then precisely being able to identify them now and to defeat them the same way I defeated them on my own by exercising my own self, because I was all by myself when this happened, and renouncing Satan all by myself and eliminating him all by myself through months and months of hard work and study, and all by myself, recognizing through channeling, because I was able to do that, taking out messages from the angels' messages, to be able to isolate the devil as a principle and become more acquainted with its opposite, God. So again, if really you have nothing to lose, what you prefer to do is perhaps stay with God and know and prefer a power that is almighty, that is that has a strong will, that is again almighty, and then won't leave you. So cling to God, and God will give you. He won't give you the, like Satan said in the Bible, the kingdoms of the world, because well, the world was is more than marvelous, but the future that awaits humanity after Christ will let's say after Christ will incarnate again, will be even more splendid. So spiritual Satanism thinks that Satan is not only a god but also the god, and thinks that as such he was the creator of mankind. A Satanist would truly believe such a lie and will truly dedicate his or her life to the service of such an inferior deity. I think what gets you through in Satanism is that if you don't know love, and if you don't have ambitions, and if you think that overall the life that you live in can be mediocre, so a little bit below medium level, this is if you were top notch and you were an angel. And if you can accept being mediocre and a little bit above miserable when you get old and pay huge prices in the afterlife and your following reincarnations, then perhaps being a Satanist helps. But if you cherish every moment of life, you understand that every time you go out with that friend that you hate and that especially hates you, every time you get into that prison, there's serial killers and thieves and again murderers, stuff like that. You cannot wait to get out, and once you are out, you see the light, and the light permeates all things, and the light created you, and you were born in it and will stay in it until the end of the days. So spiritual Satanism is something unjust, something attractive to younger generations because they can master, they think, magic, master meditation, master their chakras, the opening them, balancing them, cleaning, cleansing them. They think they can have everything at hand with very little effort, and they're the only ones to know. But once you detach from this, you find that the spiritual energy of an angel is very much, much more than the energy of a demon, because a demon was not mistreated but was given back its due. So they're all paying their dues yet. So spiritual Satanism is a current of perfection, it's seemingly, but a current of decadence. Spiritual Satanism is a current of wisdom, apparently, but then a current of stupidity in truth. So please beware these new age trends that they try to put it all together, and each time they give it a different label, because all these things are gods, and it could be the church's fault if these topics aren't discussed at churches, but they are discussed elsewhere. So try to focus on the positive, try to focus on the light, try to focus on God. And just for your information, I have much more money and much more happiness now, much more irony and much more peace now that I'm with God. And I'll never forget the eyes of Mary that she had when I made that choice to go back into the light, as they have been following me 2-3 days prior that, at a distance sometimes, preparing things to happen. And when the angels saw me walking across that line between hell and heaven, I saw Mary, and the look in her eyes was the look of someone who had been crying just moments before and now is ready to have one of her spiritual sons back. And if you look at the eyes of your mother, who is striving to have you back because she thought you were lost, this is what creates if you want the pure alternative to having your mother lose you forever. So if this is something that you cannot stand, to have um, to have your mother cry over your loss, and not only physical but spiritual death. And if you visualize that as truth, because the angels don't lie to you, then you realize that you really, truly, and if you will, um, exclusively want to say, so this is him that worship, and it's him that belongs worship, and the devil doesn't really stand Mary, Jesus, and God in this order, because he cannot attack any of these beings, especially when they're in, and especially for example, in your small little things, daily routine things that you do, and do them in a way. And this is what kills the devil, because he finds no room to operate. He takes you out of the comfort zone, but not to challenge you, but to destroy you. So get out of the comfort zone anyway. It's necessary, because an angel says so. And go and see God, and never, because he does not promise to give you all kingdoms of the earth, but he already did by placing you on this earth. And there truly is already for you to respect, honor, and obey God and his creation and everything to always. So I this was instructive for you if you have questions on how to defeat Satanism and spiritual Satanists, and how to pray for them, because they will when they help. Then please check out my Facebook group, Angel and Pure Project. Ciao.